as the Beastie Boys might sing, no international breaks till March. This is the Blue Monday podcast. I did back off the mic, but as soon as I pressed the button for the intro, Seb, I thought that is going to be loud for podcast. So I will try and do my best to sort that out. But apologies if I broke anyone's telly. But welcome back to the Blue Monday podcast, brought to you in partnership with our friends at the Graham Pub. This is the Prematch Show. And I mean, we're excited. You can tell I've already deviated from the normal intro. I've shouted, I've quoted Beastie Boys. But we are delighted to be back on YouTube live. Lots of comments we will get to you as well. And thank you to the folks listening on the podcast audio as well after the fact. Let us know you're there by giving us a 5-star review. But my partner in crime is back as well. Seb, how happy are you? And let's call it what it is, for proper normal football to return.
It's crap, and international breaks are rubbish. I don't know. This must be what it's like for people who don't like football every single weekend of their lives. I just don't understand how. I know. It's rubbish. I had to talk to the missus. I had to top up some brake fluid in a car. I did a bit of painting. It's just so boring. So thank God this won't be happening again now until March time, because it's an absolute waste of 2 weeks. And we are back. We are eager to press on. We have a crazy run of fixtures coming up, and we will be here previewing every single one on a Thursday and reviewing every single one on a Sunday.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy few weeks, isn't it?
It's
great, frankly. So we're really excited to talk to you about West Brom. Got all the usual research there. We'll do a canter around what's happened from the international scene as well, even though we've just besmirched its reputation there as well. But yeah, just good to be back, isn't it, Seb? We obviously had a break before. We didn't do Swansea game, and it kind of, not only am I a bit rusty, and that kind of hopefully came through in the crap intro, but it's kind of like we were a bit late starting because I had to type up all the predictions. I'm going to get a rant out early doors. I've been on the A14 for 3 hours this evening, so I'm a bit frazzled, if I'm honest, because people can't figure out that you're supposed to keep left unless overtaking. So I'm a bit mardy, and then I had to type up 2 weeks worth of predictions because Craig, who did an excellent job, frankly, Craig and Joe stepping in, but it's like someone's borrowed your car and then return it with no fuel in it. I just send me the predictions, Craig, and then I wouldn't have had to type it up. But we are glad to be back. Normal service is resumed, and great to see so many of you out there as well. Let's say hello to some folks out there as well. Nick, if we lose, we have a cushion. We shouldn't be talking about losing, Nick. You're Mr. Optimistic, aren't you? So yeah, well, more points than Leeds. Yeah, we want to keep that buffer at 8, though, don't we? So we want to keep that as long as possible. And the great thing is, there are going to be really random, crazy results that no one saw coming as well. And maybe rather reminders, if ever. You never know. Charlie's already got his prediction in. He's going for a 2-1 Town. When we'll be talking predictions later on, obviously, evening to Adi, even to Paul. Good day to Michael. Weather report. Damp with a hint of sun. Better than damp with a hint of freezing effing cold, which it is at the moment, where I am at least. Greg is with us from a wet and windy Wellington in New Zealand. We love our friends out in New Zealand as well. Even to Neil. Evening, we'll be out for Snob's 15th birthday and stuff with Pete's now. Loving that. Good day to Ben as well. Another one of our subscribers, our loyal telegrammers down under as well. Great to have you back, Ben. And he meant Son's birthday, not Snob's birthday, Neil. So yeah, thank you for correcting. Neil, by the way, one of we like to promo Telegram, but we've got a new feature. Ben hosted our first Telegram roundtable where we just discussed ITFC for an hour, and I think I've got my Neil's right this time because I got them wrong earlier in the week. Neil's part of that, along with Mark, along with Chris. Another great reason to get involved in that community. We have those as a recurring feature going forward. But thank you, Neil, for your contribution to that. Evening to Bluey's also gone for a prediction, gone for 2-0. Evening to Mullet. Can you translate that? Is that a northern?
Booyakasha. It's a throwback to 20 years ago, which is what it's like living in Manchester.
There you go. That makes sense. Got you. Evening to Mullet. Great to have you with us as well. Philip's here. Rob, Eric, Romeo. Can't wait for Saturday. Chris, another one of Team New Zealand. And there you go. Rob, I'm listening to Beastie Boys audiobook at the moment. Tie-ins. There you go. We're loving that. Evening to Tim giving us a weather report from Devon. Yeah, so many of you out there. Great to have you with us. We will keep dipping into the live chat as we go. And I've got to give a shout out to Steve in Cyprus. Let's hope Town turn up on time at West Brom. If not, there could be trouble. And Moby, a clash of two great managers, maybe different clashing styles as well. But yeah, good battles on Saturday afternoon, weren't there, Seb? But yeah, Alex is here. Veronica's here. Veronica, should we? I think we were outed anyway where we were, Seb, where we weren't doing the pre-match show. Do you want to tell folk where we were?
Yeah, we took a rare night off together, didn't we? Normally one of us ducks out, the other one can kind of step in. But we were hobnobbing with...
Wise. We took a night off together. We got ready. It was like the breakfast scene. We were kind of chucking each other the links, Africa, and yeah.
Why did you have to make it weird?
Images.
We were with ITFC royalty at the foundation dinner. It would have been 2 weeks ago tonight now, wouldn't it? Feels like longer. Veronica was there. Great to have her on our table as well. Yeah, it was the ITFC foundation dinner, a brilliant evening hosted by Matt Holland, my all-time Ipswich Town hero. David Johnson was the guest speaker. It was a brilliant night. If you've never been to one of these dues, I can highly recommend it. It was absolutely superb. Great atmosphere in the room. Great to meet so many people. You were trying to get Burke Bakai to reveal our January transfer strategy, weren't you? It was just a fantastic night. So highly recommend those evenings. We met up with Graham and Dan at the bar towards the end of the evening. Two great guys. Great to chat with them. And yeah, it's a really, really fun evening. Highly recommend these kind of bashes if you can get tickets, because they show kind of another side to the club, all the brilliant work that sometimes goes unnoticed in the community. We know how important the foundation, what was previously called the Community Trust, is. And it's great to kind of meet some of those people and see the good that the club does away from the pitch. It shows how we're really, really in good hands, both on and off the pitch at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah, really professional job, Matt Holland hosting. We know Matt Holland; he can do anything, and was fantastic hosting that and quizzing David Johnson. We won't reveal too much. Well, in fact, we won't. We'll keep what happened at the foundation dinner stays at the foundation dinner. But yeah, great to walk around and just bump into random people. And yeah, I was eyeing up some of the auction memorabilia, which it's kind of
there was a training day that we had our eye on. You could go and watch the first team train, wasn't there? And you could spend a bit of time with Kieran McKenna. We set ourselves a budget, didn't we? And I think within seconds, that budget had been blown out the water. So it all goes to
and then we're still blown out of the water.
And it all goes to a fantastic
completely I'm oblivious to the fact that there was a Marcus Stewart shirt that was auctioned as well. And it was our mate Peachy, Chris, who found it in a dump or a tip somewhere in Suffolk. And reconditioned it, sorted out, and then kindly donated it to the foundation. I think also probably to raise funds for Derby Rimmer as well. And yeah, that attracted a big number. And you kind of I had the nice kind of high heart rate moments of being in the running for some stuff early doors, and then the absolute relief when someone outbids you and you don't have to pay a stupid amount of money, but it all for charity and a great event. And congratulations to everyone at the club. And and thanks. Great chatting with Veronica, great chatting with Graham and Dan as well. So and his Veronica Foundation Meal Superb, exactly right. Should we do some bits and pieces? I mean, we have, as I said at the start, we have slagged off the international breaks, but worth noting that our players, some of the Town squad, have been in action. Any particular highlights? I mean, the key headline, Seb, as far as we're aware, no injuries.
Yeah, that's the absolute key thing in McKenna's pre-match presser today, wasn't it? Everyone's come back fine. Nathan Broad had won his 9th full cap against Turkey, got the start playing kind of in off the left, did quite well, got subbed off. They drew 1-1 in the end, so they're going to end up in the playoffs. I think the draw was made today, but I don't know who they got.
I think Finland, and they can play Poland in the final, I think.
Yeah, that's how it works. It's one-legged, isn't it? One leg semi-final, one-legged final. So, so they'll be back in action. Hopefully Wes Burns will be back in the squad for March for those playoffs. Kieran Slicker won his 13th Scotland under-23 cap, kept a clean sheet, his second of the international break. So fair dues to him. Massimo Luongo and Cameron Burgess were both unused subs, which obviously is a good thing for us as Australia beat Palestine. So, they had to travel away, but they didn't play in the second game. So do you think the fact they haven't played means they're nailed on for the squad? This is your last chance, isn't it, to look at people for the Asia Cup? So I assume the fact they didn't get any minutes means the manager's pretty happy and they're going to be included in the squad. That's how I read that one. Do you agree with that?
Should we hold that thought and come back to it later on? Okay. I can speculate.
Sorry, not our squad. I mean the Australia squad.
As in they're not going to go to the Asia Cup?
No, as in they are going to go to the Asia Cup.
I don't know.
If you were unsure, you'd give them minutes, surely, wouldn't you, to have a last look at them before the
I think they go. I
competition
think whatever happens, they go now. They're nailed on, I think.
Yeah. Elkin Baggett won his 19th full cap as Indonesia drew 1-1 with the Philippines, and Dane Scarlett won his 4th England Elite cap. Somebody set us right in the chat a few weeks ago of what the England Elite level is, and forgive me, I've forgotten exactly what it is, but he got his 4th cap in a 3-2 win over Germany. So a decent kind of run out for some of the squad players. Nathan Broadhead's the standout, and touchwood, like you said earlier, McKenna said, they've all come back unscathed, which has been a rarity for international breaks, because Burns obviously had the hamstring worry a couple of months ago. He had the shoulder issue last month, so it's nice they're all back on the grass and ready to go.
Yeah, Wales usually break our players, so it's good they've given them back safe and sound, like Craig returning the Prematch Show back to us. I missed this.
Let it go.
No, man. I'm on the Mard now. Not with Craig or with the A14 drivers. Just keep left, folks. Just keep left. Charlie, 3 weeks till Norwich. I'm loving these Beastie Boys kind of 3 weeks till Norwich. So yeah, I thought I'd give that a shout. And also Richard here can't tune into the whole show as it's Thanksgiving, of course, in the States. Can't wait for Saturday. Happy Thanksgiving to all of our friends in the States. The players, I think, had a Thanksgiving meal today, didn't they, after training? So all the very best, Richard. Indulge and enjoy, and then hit the sails 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. Get your elbows out and get yourself a widescreen telly and all that kind of fun stuff. Charlie also mentions Burns and Williams make a big difference. We'll debate whether they are going to feature or not. And as Colin rightly says, it's Wes Burns' birthday today as we record. So happy birthday to him. ITFC women, Seb, are in cup action on Sunday. Having beaten Northampton, I was there on the drum away at Northampton. Cold, wet, miserable day. But great that Lucy O'Brien, who we spoke to as an exclusive for our Telegram subscribers, and we discussed the fact that she'd made lots of goal contributions but hadn't actually put the ball in the net. And then within 5-6 minutes of the start of the game had scored and got another one later on and could have actually had a hat trick. She won a penalty late on, but handed the ball to regular penalty taker Bonnie Horde, who slammed it home as she tends to do. So top professionalism there from our good friend Lucy O'Brien, as sponsored by the Friends of Blue Monday. But Tractor Girls back in action on Sunday at home. Finally at home at the AGL Arena, having been away for seems like 2 months. And Sutton Coldfield are the visitors in the second round of the FA Women's Cup. A couple of rungs below, I think, at least. So Town definitely favourites for that. And newly crowned player of the month for the second month running, in fact, Natasha Thomas is chasing down 150 Ipswich Town goals, Seb. So she'll be hoping to add more. I think she's kind of, a few off of that, I think. I'm trying to remember the numbers. She's done an interview with Town TV, so you can maybe go and watch that. And Kieran, our mate Kieran Stanley did that interview, and I'm sure he'll give you the right stats there. But yeah, excited to get back to the AGL and bang the drum, etc. If you want to get details, if you're listening to this before midday on Friday, you can still get your tickets in advance as well. But do get down and support the Tractor Girls. FA Cup is always a really good competition for us and a big opportunity potential for goals. But Seb, it's a trip to the Midlands as opposed to receiving visitors from the Midlands, which is what the women are doing. The men off to the Black Country and West Brom, and I'm a little bit apprehensive about this one. I think maybe West Brom a little bit under the radar, but starting to come good manager, some good players still there as well. But as you'll tell us later on, not a place we've got a brilliant record either. So what's your overriding sense heading into this one?
I think you summed it up there quite nicely. I too feel a bit apprehensive about it. It's got a big game kind of vibe, maybe one that we've not really experienced since the back end of last season with those trips to Peterborough and Barnsley. You know, like you say, our record there isn't great. And they've, like you said, gone under the radar a little bit. I was on a show last night with Gab Sutton on his EFL debate show with a Southampton fan, a Leeds fan, a Leicester fan. We were all discussing the automatic race. And one of the first comments put up to in response to it was from a West Brom fan saying, you know, hello, we're around as well. So I think there's a quiet kind of confidence amongst their fan base that after a couple of years of underachieving following relegation, I think they finished 10th and finished 9th last season. This could be the year with the manager who we'll discuss shortly, Carlos Corberán, who I think is an excellent manager at the helm. They can really make a decent fist of this. And okay, they're probably not going to get the autos given how far ahead we are, but they can certainly have designs on the playoffs.
What was the conclusion of your promotion special? Who's going up?
It depends who you support. Funnily enough, as emotional football fans will try to convince people. No, I mean we were very fair. The Leeds fan Ewan was very confident. He thought they would hunt us down. They said this run of games, these fixtures you've got in December, and the fact you have to go to Ellen Road means they can start to claw back some of the deficit. The Southampton fan Martin was very complimentary, and as was the Leicester fan Mark. They both kind of said that they think we'll stay the course. And Gab Sutton and Ollie, the two hosts, I think by the end of it, I'd convinced Gab. Ollie was a bit more kind of siding towards Leeds, but yeah, I just kept saying 2 words, guys. Kieran McKenna. That was my answer to everything, and every time I kind of said that, they kind of went, "Oh yeah, fair point. Yeah, you've got a really good point there, haven't you?" So
yeah, you are the best.
Go and give it a listen on Gab's EFL debate show. It's quite an interesting hour or so of conversation.
Steve asks, the Hawthorns is the highest ground in the league. I think that's a popular quiz question, isn't it? What's the weather forecast? I think it's meant to be effing freezing. Seb, winter is coming. So
dry though, I think it's meant to be dry.
Yeah,
isn't it? So I can put up with cold if it's not raining. Yeah,
bring your scarves, folks.
Yeah.
Talk to us about state of play, situation in the league table, recent results, etc. Seb.
Yeah, currently 7th in the league with 26 points, played 16, won 7, drawn 5, lost 4, scored 26 goals, conceded 17. Last 5, 3 wins, 1 draw and 1 defeat. The wins were at home to QPR, obviously, away to Coventry and at home to Hull. The draw was at home to Plymouth, and the defeat was last time out away at Southampton. Their home form is good. 17 points from the 8 games played. They are strong, a strong team at home. They have 1 defeat. The shock defeat was at home to Huddersfield in September. That was their shock home defeat at the Hawthorns so far this campaign. 7 clean sheets is the joint best in the league. They are miserly at the back. They are slightly outperforming their XG of 20 versus a goals scored of 26. So home form is very good, solid start, in a decent position to mount a really crucial campaign come this kind of busy time of year when you get 2 or 3 game weeks on the bounce, and they'll really look to close the gap and get into those playoff places, won't they?
Yeah, we'll talk about how the goals are scored, but quite a few long ranges, and leading scorer is a midfielder, so that should give you an indication that they're not all tap-ins, put it that way. So we'll talk more about that later on. That the Coventry win was a little bit smash and grab, but probably a kind of a ruthless, excellent counter-attacking type away win where Coventry lots of possession, created a few chances, but nothing really notable. And then West Brom scored at really good times, and maybe a little bit of fortunate with the second one in the offside situation with Thomas Asante, but took the goals really well. The win over Hull stands out, 3-1 victory. That some stuff for us to learn about that, which we'll talk about as well. So yeah, and no shame at the moment losing to Southampton, really. And as you'll talk, well, do you want to talk to us about Southampton? Because they were pretty unlucky, weren't they?
They were, yeah. So a 2-1 defeat last time out. So the last game before the break was a 2-1 defeat down at St Mary's. They had the better of the XG, 2.12 to 1.8, 47% possession, 14 shots to Southampton's 10, only 2 on target, albeit made 4 big chances and hit the woodwork twice. So yeah, you say no shame to lose to Southampton, but they certainly gave a good account of themselves. I know we went there and won, but traditionally it's a tough place to go recently, given the form that they've been in. And that's although they did get defeated, they can take spirit out of that because they showed some real kind of quality in their play. And if they'd have taken those chances, if they had a fit and firing out and out kind of number 9, it could have been a very different game.
Yeah, it does look like they're shopping in the similar market, maybe in January as we are. Last season, Seb, the parachute money's kind of run out this summer, hasn't it?
It's gone.
Yeah. So talk to us about what happened last season.
Yeah, so being promoted for 1 season, you only get 2 years worth of parachute payments, don't they? So this is their 3rd season back down at this level. Last year, they finished 9th with 66 points. They missed out on the playoffs by 3 points. They had 3 defeats in the last 5 because they kind of stuttered in the run-in. They kind of didn't make it with the pressure building, I guess. Steve Bruce started the season there in charge. I had no idea he was there until I did the research for this. I completely missed that episode of his career, but he has an awful run. He gets to October time. They're 3 points from safety. They've won 2 of their first 16 games. He gets the boot, and they go out and appoint Carlos Corberán, who most of us will know from his time at Huddersfield a couple of years ago. He was Leeds under-23 manager, takes over in October 2022, like I say, with the club 3 points away from safety. He loses his first game to Sheffield United. Obviously, you end up going up automatically. He then wins 9 out of the next 10, goes on a brilliant run for most of the season before just stuttering towards the end. So although I said they missed out on the playoffs by 3 points, when you take into account the fact they were 3 points adrift in the relegation zone with 2 wins towards the end of October, October when he took over. That's a brilliant piece of work, I think, by him. He's managed 50 games, averages 1.64 points per game, which across a full season will get you 75 points, which is going to be enough to get you into the playoffs, isn't it? Came through at Leeds as an under-23 coach. The spell at Huddersfield, like I say, took them to third with that Sorba Thomas heavily focused side who lost to Nottingham Forest in the playoff final. A bit unlucky when we were watching that game, and they should have had at least one penalty, I think, on the day. So he cat himself unlucky there. He kind of went abroad, came back, he left Huddersfield, went abroad, comes back, is linked with a return to Leeds last February when they sacked Jesse March, when they appointed Javi Garcia before Big Sam came in. But he turns them down and signs a new extension at West Brom, so he's there until 2027. I like him as a manager. He kind of ticks the boxes that I like. He's young, he's progressive, he plays attractive football. We'll discuss their playing style in a minute, and I think they've got one of the best in the league at the helm.
Yeah, maybe in terms of the comparison between him and McKenna, maybe there's more pragmatism around Corberon's style of play. We'll talk about how the stats kind of bear that out, but his sides are never going to be out and out attacking sides, but there's always good quality in there. They're quite clever. They have figured out a strategy. You know, he mixes it up in terms of how he goes about scoring goals as well. Tends to be about crosses into the box, isn't it, Seb?
Which is what his Huddersfield team was, right? It was Sorba Thomas, wasn't it, the main man? Yeah, it's a replication of that.
So I agree with you. Similar sentiment that, you know, he's an impressive manager, and I guess my question in terms of Steve Bruce is he on the scrap heap now, like maybe Mick is, perhaps?
It's moved on. I was listening to the Second Tier podcast today on my drive home from work, and they were saying that only one manager in the top half of the Championship table is over 50 years old. You know, that's Tony Mowbray at Sunderland.
Young man's game.
Yeah, the days of these kind of tried and tested, you know, we used to see it with managerial vacancies, and suddenly you'd have, you know, Alan Kirbishley, Mick McCarthy, Tony Pulis, Neil Warnock. It was the same names over and over, and clubs now are looking in a different direction. You know, they're seeing what the likes of we've done with McKenna and Oxford, Liam Manning, and, you know, MK Dons to a lesser degree. And I think clubs are seeing this is now the way to go. You get these properly qualified coaches who've been doing this at a Premier League side or a, you know, a high level for an X number of years. You give them their first managerial rung, and it's the way the world goes now.
Let's talk about our record there. We'll put a quiz question out to the chat. Can someone tell us Town's last, the date, the season, any details about the last victory at the Hawthorns? Clue, it's a long time ago, Seb. But the overall record's pretty good, largely, I guess, on the basis of our home form. I remember us thumping West Brom at home. And then there was this spell when Mogga was in charge and they used to pump us instead. But I remember a 5-0. I think Colin put earlier, Mariners' debut was a 7-0. So there's definitely at home that superiority. But yeah, overall, yeah, in our favour, but away from home, not so good, is it?
Yeah, overall, we've got the edge. 34 wins, 17 draws, 22 West Brom wins. I won't reveal the last time we won there yet, but the last time we played there was a 1-1 draw in March 2019. You were there, weren't you?
I was. Yeah, it was quite a good performance, actually. We should have probably won it. And as you're about to say, Darren Moore's last game in charge of West Brom.
It was. He was sacked 3 hours later. So at the time, after the game, I think they were 4th on 61 points, but it was their 3rd game without a win. And yeah, they came out, didn't they, and sacked Darren Moore as most of us were driving kind of home after the match. Do you want a quote from Paul Lambert after the game?
Do the voice.
I can't do that with the Scottish voice. I've come away from games thinking, how the hell have we lost? We play really good football. That's why fans come to watch us. We've got a really good nucleus of young players. It's not over, that's for sure. That was Paul Lambert.
He turned into Mick at the end. He went Yorkshire.
Yeah, that was Paul Lambert, who in about, another 2 months relegated with one of the worst ever points tallies in Championship history. So yeah, according to him, it wasn't over. But it was a decent performance, like you say, a 1-1 draw. John Nolan. Yeah, header from John Nolan got us a point. So I guess away at a playoff side, that's a decent point.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just enjoying you. I can't believe you actually did it. A lot of stuff in the chat about West Brom. We will come to the last victory there. A few of you have got it. But Nick makes an excellent point. Pretty good on neutral venues. I'm pretty certain, Nick, it's a 100% record on neutral venues, isn't it? And I think Highbury, if I'm right. Is that correct? Someone is semi-final of FA Cup 78, by the way. If people haven't joined the dots there. Neil mentions a 6-1 at home in 84-ish. Don't be specific, Neil. You know, join the dots for us. But yeah, there you go. Eric Clapton, 3-1 at Highbury. Yep. And yes, Mullet and I were sat next together. Yeah, there we go. But Seb, talk to us about Can you in your mind's eye? Can you see the goal? Because I posted it.
I can. Well, I actually watched it because I was going to do one of my lineup quizzes for you, but I couldn't find the information. Anyway, the only place I thought it might be is in my loft. I have the programs in the old. Remember the blue binders they sold for a while where you could file each of the programs?
I got loads down here, yeah.
Yeah, it will be in there, but I didn't have time to go into the loft and find it. So the last time we won there was in March 1999, an overhead kick from Manuel Thetis, who was also sent off, I think, if I remember rightly, in the latter stages of the game. That was our last victory there. I think he gets sent off later on in the game after he scores the overhead kick. He has two bites of the cherry, doesn't he? It's a corner played out. Whips the ball in. He sits down, misses it kind of the first time, sets himself, and finds the back of the net. That was our last win there. So that's the 98-99 season, the first year we lose to Bolton in the playoffs at the end of it before the glorious 99-2000 season. Are you googling if he got sent off? Because I think he did. Yeah,
so I've Pride of Anglia is the best place to go for all of this kind of stuff. West Brom away 1-0, 15,000 in at the Hawthorns. I can give you do you want to guess the team? I mean, it's pretty. I haven't
found it. Okay.
Red card for Thetis. Did he get in a scrap with Sean Flynn? Because Sean Flynn was also sent off in the 85th minute.
Late on, 80th minute, 81st minute or something. I think it was certainly towards the end of the game, yeah.
And because he's got West Brom and Ipswich players, the dismissal came 6 minutes from time following a skirmish with Sean Flynn, whose red card was inevitable from the moment he lashed out. That should have been the end of the matter, but Thetis ensured his own departure by jumping to his feet and grabbing Flynn's neck.
There it is.
There you go. Calm down. Yeah, do you want to have a go at the team? Because there's no massive surprises there.
Richard Wright.
Usual suspects, yeah.
Wilness.
Yep.
Mowbray.
Yep. Thetis. It's a 5 at the back, if that helps.
Thetis. Cundy?
Yep. Nope.
Venus?
Yep.
Clapham left wing back?
Yep.
Magilton's not there yet. Holland,
yep.
Dyer.
No, Magilton is.
Is he? Okay. So Magilton, Holland and Dyer in the midfield?
No Dyer that day. Mick Stockwell in the team.
Okay. And I presume Johnson and Scully up front?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Any care to guess any of the West Brom team?
Sean Flynn.
Correct.
No, other than that,
Kevin Kilban. I'm trying to find names that people might know. There's a Gabadon in the team. I assume it's Danny.
Danny Gabadon.
I assume. Matt Carbon. That's the name. Richard Sneakers. Anyone? Fabian De Freitas. Anyone? There you go. Big names. So, yeah, well done, Mullet, who got the full details there. But, yeah, long old way since that victory, Seb. And I'm trying to think if we've been close, but I don't think – all I can remember is 4-1s, defeats, and, under Joe Royal. Roy Keane had a pretty grim trip to West Brom, and there was the West Brom game where Keane basically chucked half the squad under the bus. They never played.
It was very early on, wasn't it? I think it was his 4th or 5th game of the season. It was on Sky. Yeah, and it was a Richard Wright masterclass to keep it to 2-0 because we were absolutely battered that day. And you're right, it might have been that game where he came out and said, some players won't play for me again, or whatever it was he did. And went out and signed Darryl Murphy, Grant Ledbetter, and Carlos Edwards and stuff. Yeah, it's not been a happy hunting ground for the last few years, certainly.
Let's bring things up to date then, because as we know, this Ipswich team doesn't care about history. It doesn't care about crap records. It makes new records. It makes new history. But this is a pretty solid West Brom team, as we've already talked about. Talk to us about the squad, Seb, and maybe some of the style of play.
Well, there's FFP considerations that we have to take into account. So like I say, the parachute payments have run out, so they've had to kind of cut their cloth accordingly. They had a big sale in the summer. Dara O'Shea went to Burnley. He was a centre-back. Went for Burnley for just under £8 million. Jake Livermore, who I assume would have been on half-decent wages as an experienced pro and an ex-kind of Premier League stalwart, he got released. Carlin Grant got loaned to Cardiff. He was a one-time £15 million signing on a 6-year contract. He's only halfway through that contract. He scored 18 goals for them the season before last. Only got 3 last year, and they decided to loan him out, presumably to try and recoup some wages. They didn't spend any money in the summer. Josh Madger, do you remember Sunderland Till I Die?
Yeah,
first series of that. He was
I was thinking kind of hope. Like someone should sign him, and it turns out West Brom did. Like they'd already done that idea, but he's been linked with most in the last 2 years, most championship sides, hasn't he?
Yeah, he went abroad. He went to Bordeaux, didn't he, in France?
Yeah.
Yeah, went to Bordeaux. He kind of left Sunderland. I think it might have been on a free. He might have received signed a contract or something, if I remember rightly, from the docu-series. He went out to Bordeaux, didn't really set the world alight, and has now come back to West Brom. He tore his ankle ligaments in September, so he is closing in on a return. He might well feature on the bench on Saturday against us, but he hasn't featured for a couple of months. Other than that, there was a right back brought in on loan. There was Jeremy Sarmiento, who's kind of a right/left winger. He's come in from Brighton, one of Brighton's kind of, amazing young prospects, expecting to be sold for 30 million quid to Chelsea in a couple of years' time. So they've kind of cut their cloth accordingly, got rid of some high earners, bought in decent fees, and kind of looked to pad out the squad a little bit with frees and loans. In terms of the style of play, it's been traditionally this season a 3 at the back system. They've used that most with 12 times. It kind of alternates between a 3-4-2-1 with 2 number 10s like we had with Selina and Chaplin in McKenna's kind of early days. The last 2 games, however, possibly because of who they were playing in Southampton and Hull, they've gone for a good old-fashioned Mike Bassett, Mick McCarthy 4-4-2. I assume that's to try and keep things tighter at the back, given who they were playing. They beat Hull. They lost to Southampton. If I was a betting man, I think they'd probably go to a back 3 with wing backs when we visit Town. They play similar to us, similar in terms of passes per sequence. We get the ball forward quicker, though. They're not amazing at pressing. 4th bottom for pressing intensity. They're not really possession heavy. 50% is 13th in the league. Passing accuracy, just under 82%. Again, not amazing. They are very, very solid at the back. We've already mentioned the 7 clean sheets so far this season, which is the best in the league. They average 10 shots conceded per game, which is the 3rd fewest. They're not very fouly. The fewest fouls in the league conceded with an average of 8. They don't really take that many shots, 12 per game with 3 on target. So they're not amazing shooters. It's all built from the back, really, in terms of how they're so solid. The old saying, defenses win championships. That's kind of the mantra I think they're going to go for, and look to really kind of have that solid base and kind of nick goals here and there, because they don't shoot overly often. Very high at crossing. You spoke earlier about how his Huddersfield side with Sorba Thomas was cross. They are the top crossers in the league, averaging just over 5 per game with a 26% accuracy.
I've added this last bit.
Yeah.
You said they're not great at pressing.
No, but they will press high.
I was going to say that there's a high press, because the Hull goal that Wallace scored was. And this is, I guess, a warning sign. We have been debating and speculating when the goal might be conceded from us passing out from the back. Well, Hull have learned that lesson from West Brom at the Hawthorns as well. Jed Wallace scoring the goal. So something to watch out for there, and I'm sure we'll be ready for that as well. Key personnel, Seb?
Well, John Swift is the top scorer. You mentioned him. He's an attacking midfielder, kind of a number 10. He's been I like him. Ex-Reading, yeah. He's been out for a couple of, I think, 6-7 weeks now. He's got 6 goals and an assist. He's closing in on a return. I would assume him and Josh Madger are probably going to be bench options, given how long they've been out for. But they could both make their returns this weekend. Brandon Thomas Asante's kind of been playing in the number 9 position, 4 goals. Scored a great goal against Leeds earlier in the season. They've got Daryl Dyke, who, if you remember, was part of that Barnsley team that got broken up. He was,
I think it's DK, but I might be wrong.
Oh, okay. He was on loan from Orlando City, and West Brom kind of swooped for him, but he's had a horrible injury time. I think it's his 3rd serious injury since joining them, so he's out till Christmas time. Jumbo Gerardi Diagana. Do you remember when West Ham sold him and Mark Noble came out and he was saying it's an outrage, we shouldn't be letting players of that caliber go? He was 12 million quid.
Okay. Yes.
I would suggest they were probably right, because he hasn't really pushed on. 12 million pound signing from West Ham 3 years ago. Got 3 assists so far this season, so he is decent. But I guess the fact that you spent 12 million quid on him and 3 years later he's still in your side would suggest he hasn't developed maybe quite as they thought he would. Jed Wallace is the top assist with 3. He's primarily a right-sided kind of winger forward, but he's been filling in a little bit more up front when they've been playing the 4-4-2, filling in centrally. Matt Phillips seems to have been around forever. He slots into the left wing-back role when they play a 3 at the back system, 3 goals and 2 assists. They are big at the back. They have some big old boys. Right. Cedric Kipri is 6'3". He's a centre-back. Kyle Bartley, the right wing-back with a monster... No, he's not got the monster throw, sorry. He's 6'2", though. And Sammy Ajar. Do you remember when he was at Rotherham all those years? He's 6'3" as well. So it's a bit of a land of giants at the back.
Yeah, and Palmer's decent as well, the keeper.
Yep.
But yeah, Seb does all the research in terms of the big boys at the back. Jed Wallace, Millwall MVP for quite a few seasons, wasn't he?
Yep.
Good player, good age, I think, still as well. There's quality there. There's a lot of individual talent there. Pace. Thomas Asante, rapid, scored that goal I mentioned at Coventry. ran through, maybe took a couple of touches, but got his shot away. So that they will get the shots. They will try and dribble in. There's a few tricky players, Chalobah as well, who's decent as well. And so there's a long throw threat as well, which was a factor against Southampton. Maybe didn't contribute to their goal, but yeah, and it creates some chances for them.
Yeah, Darnell Furlong, who plays right wing back or right back when they have a back four, he's got the long throw. And Alex Mowatt's a player you like, isn't he? He was one of those Barnsley team, the Connor Chaplin Barnsley side that kind of got broken up. I'm sure he was in that kind of line. I think he was loaned out last year somewhere. He went out. Borough, that's it. Yeah, sorry, Borough. He'll play in the middle of the pitch and kind of look to snap into Morsey and dictate play. I think he averages something like 50 odd touches per game. Morsey averages about 70. So they're the kind of two that will get involved and look to make things tick.
Pretty certain we were linked with him before he went to West Brom.
I like him. That would have been in the Paul Cook summer then.
Yeah, I think we might have, because we were definitely shopping it for that kind of combative central midfielder.
Yep.
You know, he's very, in terms of physical stature, he's very similar to Morsey, isn't it? But I think Morsey's maybe the better footballer, albeit that loan at Borough was under Carrick, wasn't it? So
yeah,
you know, still a decent player, but maybe him and Matt Crooks very similar, you know, cut from the same cloth, as it were, in terms of those combative central midfielders who maybe maraud a little bit, can defend a little bit, can score a few, create a bit as well. So yeah, good player. You mentioned a few injuries as well, Seb. I think we dealt with the key ones, haven't we? You're speculating Madgen might make an appearance from the bench.
Logically, him and Swift. Then I'd be amazed. He's been out for 2 months. Madger. Swift's been out for 7 weeks. I'd be astounded if they came straight back into the starting 11. I'd imagine if they can make it for this weekend, there'll be bench options in the second half. He likes to make changes, a bit like McKenna. He's very pre-planned with his changes, so it'll get to 55, 60, 65 minutes, and he'll do what McKenna does. You sometimes kind of feel those things are pre-planned. So I guess he's got one eye on giving them a half an hour run out if they're up to it.
Yeah, so we need to again pat you on the back for your nugget. This is the nugget moment. We need to get you a kind of like a musical sting, don't we? Seb's stat of the week. You're following on from Swansea and the early goals and late.
Yeah, I predicted the late goals against Birmingham, the early goal against Swansea, and West Brom are a side that end halves very poorly. So that might, if you need a pee or a beer at half time, it might not be worth hanging out. You might want to hang on for a few minutes. They've conceded 3 goals in the 15-minute build up to half time and 5 goals in the 15-minute build up to full time. So they're not a side that ends games well.
No, they were hanging on a little bit against Cov, if I remember rightly. And I think the Southampton goal was a late one, isn't it? The last time out. So Armstrong tapping in. Should we talk about us then? We are speculating, as we did at the start, there are no injuries that we haven't. I think McKenna did his presser today. No injuries were announced there, and we have no reason to doubt that. Yep. The big debate, I guess, is whether, do you want to, right back, isn't it, Seb?
Yeah, I'd bring Brandon Williams back in if he's been training for 2 weeks and he's fit. Clark's done okay. I thought he was all right at Birmingham. He was no worse than many others. I was at Rotherham. He was okay there as well and seemed to kind of be decent against Swansea again. But I just think Brandon Williams is a better player. You know, he's been come through at Man United and that kind of level of Premier League coaching. I'd have him back at right back personally, and I'd also have Wes Burns. He must be ready for a start. You know, I know he came on for was it half an hour against
maybe 2. I
Swansea. It felt like it was 10 minutes too long, didn't it? Yeah. He should have come on maybe at the 70-minute mark rather than the full 30 minutes. But I assume he'll come straight back in. So that's a pretty rapid, decent set of players down that right hand side. Taylor, I assume, will continue alongside Morsey. Fully deserves to after that absolute thunder bastard against Swansea and the less of a thunder bastard against Rotherham a few nights previously. So I guess now it's his shirt to lose. The big one for me, what do you think he'll do at the back? I think Tuanzebe will start, and this might be the chance for him to get in the side. You know, Burgess has been away. I know they didn't play against Palestine. It was in Q8, wasn't it? So I guess they would have got back yesterday. We're recording this on Thursday, so maybe a Wednesday afternoon return. So, you know, Burgess has been away for the couple of weeks. I just got a feeling that McKenna was clearly animated or unhappy with the 2 goals conceded or the manner of the goals against Swansea, wasn't he? So he's clearly going to look to tighten this back up again. I've got a feeling Tuanzebe comes in, and this might be the point in the team where him and Wolverton moving forward are the established back 2. What do you think to that?
I think that's an interesting shout, because we talked about West Brom targeting crosses. We talked about the physical presence, which will be a threat from set pieces as well. So you need, I think, 2 great headers of the ball. And I wonder whether Wolfen and therefore might drop out rather than Burgess, actually.
Okay, interesting.
You have 2 dominant
Well, that's
essentially
really
less creative centre backs, but they are going to get their heads on everything, aren't they? They're more physically imposing, perhaps, than Wolford. And don't forget, we've got shed load of games coming up, haven't we? Millwall on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I think at home, we'd be looking to play the ball as we always do at home, and perfect game for a Wolfenden, isn't it? So I wonder whether that might happen.
Well, I guess he went with the Rotherham game. Obviously, West Brom were nowhere near it in terms of playing style as direct as Rotherham are overall, but he did have Burgess and Tuanzebe to counter that kind of set piece threat. We know they are a threat from set pieces. I think West Brom have got 6 goals from set pieces so far this season, which is the 5th or 6th highest in the league. We just mentioned how big their centre backs are. So yeah, it's a good shout. I hadn't considered Wolfenden dropping out. That might be the way he does it.
Yeah. Alex has asked us earlier, apologies, I can't find it now. Alex, here we go. Ask us about the potential for exploiting our strengths and exploiting their weaknesses. So the thing that I've noticed is similar to Birmingham, actually. There's a lot of sleepiness at the back when players overlap. And certainly down that left-hand side, I think Southampton's winner came from Adam Armstrong overloading at the back post, and I think Hull scored a goal like that as well, where the ball flashed across the area and no one was expecting the wide player coming in from the right hand side. So the left hand side for me, for West Brom, defensively a little bit shaky, and to that point we've talked about personnel. Perfect game for Williams and Burns or Hutchinson. You know, there's enough options down there, so maybe we know we're strong down the right hand side. We know that Leif Davis generally is kind of a one-man band with Broadhead dropping in there. So maybe our best bet is maybe to start the attacks over the left-hand side and do those diagonals that we like, try and get them behind, but crosses in for us as well, and have that extra man at the back, Wes Burns tapping or slamming home a shot. You know, I think that's a good threat there.
You're right. Matt Phillips, like we said earlier, he's playing out of position. I mean, he's in most of his career, he's been known as a right winger, right forward, but he's kind of slotting in that left wing back role. So that's why I think they're looking vulnerable there, because he is playing slightly out of position compared to where he's played most of his career. I guess the way to beat them is, well, it'd be nice if we stopped giving sides 2-goal leads or conceding 2 goals per game.
To work on it.
Yeah, don't give away any silly free kicks in and around the box, given how big they are. That's the way to do it as well. But like you say, exploit the space in behind those fullbacks. And let's be honest, we don't really need to worry about kind of what the opposition do anymore, do we? We know if we play our natural game, we will be confident there, and we will.
Turn up, is it?
We will deliver like we always do.
Fair enough. Let's go to the comments. We've got some selection thoughts. We've got lots of love for Brandon Williams. Williams is a monster, says Eric. Only change might be central defences, Neil. We need to verify this. Not that I don't trust Colin, but apparently McKenna's 100th game. Is that what we think? Can someone double check that? If it is, fantastic.
Makes sense. Yeah, 46 games.
Wow, that's time, isn't it? It's coming up to a second year anniversary, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
AD jumping in with stats as well. Apparently West Brom don't like it if opponents score first. We haven't got a great recent record of doing that, have we? So we might need to turn that stat on its head. Colin also going for Tuanzebe. Neil saying early goal, please. The Shire Shark. Tuanzebe will likely start. I can't get over, Seb, that slow-mo of him heading a ball away at Rotherham, and the water or sweat was in slow-mo, just kind of fired off. It looked very artistic. So it feels like there's a consensus amongst the chat that Tuanzebe might come in. Charlie mentioning Wolford and better at controlling the ball at Burgess, but I think we might go a little bit more direct perhaps on Saturday, get the ball up quickly, as we talked about, getting down that right-hand side with Burns and or Williams if he plays, or even Clark. You know, Clark's is no slouch down that side either. What have we had? Eric, Wolfin, Axel have had 2. Well, I guess we don't know what we've been doing for 2 weeks, do we?
They've been in Dubai for the first week, haven't they? Judging from all their Instagram stories, it looked brilliant.
Speculating there. And as Joe Riley says here, McKenna had to have been expecting Tuanzebe to be nailed on start when he signed him. Still, match fitness question there. The only way you get that is playing. But as we keep saying, Saturday, Tuesday, there is plenty of opportunity to rotate. And it sounds like from his press gang, his pre-match presser, that there will be rotation over the coming weeks. You have to do it, don't you? So,
the schedule's mental, isn't it?
Yeah, good stuff. Anything more? Easy B. I might be a West Brom fan. If not, apologies. It's delusional to think Ipswich can roll up the Hawthorns.
Oh, absolutely. If you offer me a point right now, I wouldn't bother going.
If that's how we've come across, that's not what we intended.
As I said at the start, the home form is very good. 17 points from the 8 games. They've only lost the one game. This is spying on us. This is a tough game. If you've offered me a point right now, I wouldn't get on the bus, to quote Mr.
I've opened a can of worms by using the word spying on us in reference to Leeds as well. So probably easy. I didn't mean to do that, but thank you for joining. It's great to have supporters of other clubs here. And if you are a West Brom fan, let us know as well. It's always good to get the inside track. I'm not sure people will want to do that for us, but it's not as if we're the club. We are trying to educate everyone here. So, yeah, I'm sure Kieran McKenna will have his dossier. He doesn't need us to do the hard work for him.
I think Charlie Turnbull probably does a little bit more research than we do for the pre-match show. Yeah, I think so, probably.
He's probably got hours of footage watched. Yeah. Bit of AI, time stamping, key moments and all that kind of stuff. But, yeah, it's going to be a tough one. We will come to predictions shortly. So start giving your thoughts together on predictions for Saturday. In terms of bits and pieces of information that's important, we are brought to you in partnership with our friends at the Greyhound. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the logo in the bottom left-hand corner. We really appreciate Dan and the crew down at the Greyhound and their support there. Home matches this week. 2 in a row, isn't it? Millwall and Cov, if I'm right. Yep. So head down there pre-match, and who knows who you might bump into down there. Terry Butcher and Russell Osborne were hanging out there last time. As part of the Remembrance Day weekend celebrations, and you might find a Seb or a Rich or who knows what, a Rand, all kinds of people down there. So do get involved and get a sample of the pre-match atmosphere at the Greyhound. You can't do any better than that. Merch store, we've mentioned Telegram already, really good stuff there. The round table will feature another string to our bow there. So do get involved in the match day chat. I'm excited, Seb, to activate the match day chat tomorrow evening as well. We'll be following the game there, and I'm sure lots of you watching the game live on Sky. If you want to join in the debate there, 2-week free trial and then a subscription after that. But plenty of stuff, hopefully, to keep your interest more than just the chat. But the chat is great, ever present, 24/7 seemingly. So we do love it there. Also, our friends at wearthesports.com, 15% off promo if you use the word Blue Monday, all one word. And I'm sporting, if I can find the right angle, it's quite small, isn't it? The lighting isn't great. It's a Connor Chaplin, his golf celebration. Golf swing, obviously, with George Hurst. So, these kind of iconic Ipswich Town poses, moments, etc., immortalized on T-shirts and hoodies and all that kind of stuff. So do support Wear the Sport. Town fan, I think, trying to make it in all of this crazy world of merchandise and all that kind of fun stuff. So do give them your support. Plenty of different options as well. So head there. And Flagship Show's back as usual, Sunday 8 p.m. I think Seb is involved as you're going, as am I.
But don't let that put you off. There'll be much better insight.
Oh, Ben will be in the host chair. So it'll be good. Yeah, get involved. And I assume, Seb, we're back on Thursday next week, I guess. But
me and Mikey will be going live after Millwall on Tuesday night.
Yeah, now Mikey's internet works.
Yeah, and you can run up the hill.
I'll run up the hill and join in later on. And then, so Millwall Wednesday. Well, maybe we might do
the Richard Woodward derby.
Why
have you got a thumb up?
I don't know how I did that. Should I do that again? Didn't work, did it?
This is great for the listeners.
Yeah, sorry, folks. Something happened there that we weren't expecting. I think we might consider delaying the pre-match to Friday then, Seb. Perhaps we're doing admin on air. We shouldn't really do this.
No.
But at the very least, you've got a Millwall
have you covered. Yeah, that's the way to look at it.
Got a Coventry pre-match show covered. Coventry Flagship covered. Blue Monday, ITFC.co.uk as our website. Everything you need. The running order of all of our shows, which we usually sort out on the Monday, and we've gone early, and we've done it on a podcast. And again, that's my lack of professionalism, so I can only apologise. Absolutely frazzled.
It's been 3 weeks. You're allowed to blow the cobwebs off on this one.
Shocking. Should we do predictions, Seb? Let's do predictions. Let's bring it back to something that I bloody love. Last time out, as we mentioned, Craig and Joe in the hot seats, and did all right for us there. But the winner, shout out to Elliot in the Telegram group. Comfortable victory there, almost double the second place position. So Telegram racking up the points there. It's getting close in second and third place, Seb. I'm just trying to figure out the gap. Yeah, 11 points there. So, it's still plenty of the season left to go. So nothing is decided at this point. And it's a pretty exciting round of games this time around, Seb. Let me put them up on the screen. Starting on Friday, Rotherham Leeds. And I've got a feeling about that game. I've not predicted it because I'm not stupid.
What, are you expecting managerless Rotherham to do us a favour?
Totally against them, aren't they? But
they're good at home. They're very good at the New York Arena.
But we saw them obviously on a few weeks back on Monday night. I just think there's a weird, you can't just turn up we can't just turn up to West Brom. You can't just turn up to Rotherham.
3-0.
It's a scrappy place, isn't it? But yeah, they'll probably win 4-3.
3-0 to Leeds. Yeah.
Any other games catch your eye there?
Big game for Wayne Rooney, playing Sheffield Wednesday at home. If he doesn't get a win there, he's got a problem. I just wanted to pause on that. I totally agree. I thought they were really good in the first half against us. And but they dropped. So they were only good for 20 minutes, then they got knackered and they couldn't do anything anymore. So they need to. I mean, surely they'll beat Wednesday, the whipping boys this season. Surely they'll get something there. But if they don't, that's a real problem for him.
There's already chat about Eustace coming back there, but amongst the fan base,
of course there is.
Any other? I mean, Bristol City Borough seems a bit dull, doesn't it? You're going for a draw on that one. I trust Borough, one of the form teams in the division. Huddersfield, that Darren Moore appointment has not worked out, has it? And Southampton, again, one of the form teams. Difficult to see. Look at Elliott's 4-1 away win for Southampton there. The Troy Deeney derby. Deeney!
Leicester need to get back on form, don't they? Two defeats on the bounce before the break. They need to get back on winning ways. I think they will at home to Watford. That's pretty straightforward, isn't it?
Watford are on a bit of a unsung form as well.
Yeah, but it's Leicester though, isn't it?
Leicester haven't won in 2.
Yeah, but no, I'd be amazed.
I think something might happen there. It might be a draw. Milwaukee, our opponents for the next 2 matches, isn't it?
Yep.
We're not expecting.
Coventry can't score goals, can they? They just can't score goals.
I can't imagine Mark Robbins being sacked, but I think in the fantastic flagship that we did with Joe's power rankings and the kind of the next 8 predictions, Ben's logic around Coventry needing something out of that game. We know that at home you'd fancy us against anyone, but Coventry might be in really big trouble by the time they come to Portman Road next weekend, and we're not predicting things to get better for them. We are predicting things to get better, to continue to get better for David Wagner, though, which would be fantastic, wouldn't it?
That's what we want, isn't it? Yeah, we need him to beat QPR, convince Ben Napper that he's the right man for the job for hopefully another month or so, and then after we've battered them, we can fire him the week before Christmas.
A long trip for Sunderland. Wow. Good luck to their supporters heading off to Plymouth. That will be tight as well. But yeah, the main one, Seb, and look at it's a hat trick of.
I'll be honest. Shall I let you in on a secret?
Yep.
I think we're going to lose.
Did you predict that?
I predicted a 1-0 defeat. Yeah, I predicted a 1-0 defeat. West Brom to win it 1-0. I changed my mind because I thought you would probably predict a defeat, and I thought I better be the optimistic one of the two. But I wouldn't be surprised. It's not an easy place to go to. It's if like I said earlier, off midpoint now, I wouldn't get on the bus. I've just got a feeling. I don't know why. Hopefully, I'm wrong, obviously, and it's fine if we do lose. We will lose games in this crazy 6-7 week period, as long as you follow it up at home to Millwall, at home with Coventry, which I fully think we would do.
Points, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. There's just something. Yeah, I'm just. Last time I had this feeling, I think was it Birmingham, and we ended up being a 2-2 draw. I think I said 1-1 on that one. So there's just something about crap record there. Very good manager, big physical team, bit of pressure on us. Leeds playing on Friday night, right. Leicester playing lunchtime Saturday. We are the last of the 3 to kick off. So I don't know. I just wouldn't be that surprised if we were on the wrong side of one for once. It's
interesting you say that. I was thinking of predicting a defeat as well, and then thought Seb would say you're such a miserable bastard. I do think I think you're right in terms of the assessment of the game. I think it's going to be tough. Yeah. But I think there's enough about the great thing is I think someone mentioned earlier in the chat, apologies if I can't remember who said it, but big games, we generally turn up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, look at Peterborough away, Barnsley away in the space of whether it was 3 or 4 days last season. Yeah. We've only lost 1 game this season. We've not lost on the road. Let's not forget, we're unbeaten. We're the only side to be unbeaten away from home. So Wes Burns is probably back. Brandon Williams is probably back. There are an awful lot of things going in our favour. I've just got a nagging doubt and I don't know why.
Come on, Seb. Let me go to the chat. And let's see if that turns you around from a negative into a positive. What have we got? We got a 2-1. Here we go.
It'll be close. There won't be many goals, and it'll be close.
3-1.
That won't happen because it can't.
PM as a top show. Loving that easy.
McKenna can't win 3-1, so it won't be 3-1.
Yeah, don't interrupt the host. Come on. We've got a compliment in the chat. I've got to read it out. Thank you, Easy, joining. And I hope you'll be back for the Leeds pre-match show in a few weeks' time as well, because that's going to be epic. I think AD's going for a 2-2. Andreas going for a 1-1. Oh, you go Moby. That's a bit of you, isn't it, Seb? 2-0 defeat. Chris is going for a 1-0 / a 1-2. Another 1-2. Nick, 1 point better than none. I think that's my philosophy. And if I'm McKenna, I'm kind of thinking that we haven't had too many draws so far this season. Draws aren't bad for the next few weeks.
Our last 2 away have been draws, haven't they?
Yeah, win at home, draw away. Happy with that. We've got a 2-2 from Eric. Ben, I'm like most people. I think 1-0. I just hope it's not a baggy performance after. I'll see. Oh, puns. Boing, boing, baggies. Here he is. Mullet's going for a 4-0. Hat-trick, and then Harness to make it sure with a few.
You can't argue with logic like that, can you?
Michael's back with his 3-1 prediction, elsewhere. Give it up, Michael. Give it up. It's not going to happen. Streaky's going 2-0. Greg's going for a 3-1 as well. Philip Town will be ready for the baggies. We've got to hope so. Steve, he's going for a 2-0. Late goals, as he suggested earlier. Colin's going 2-0. Colin usually very positive, but hopefully a 2-1 he's hoping for. Jack going for, I hate to be negative, but I think it'll be 2-1. It's the record, isn't it? It's the home record that we talked about for West Brom.
And it's their manager.
1999. It's a long old way. Colin's also given us a 1-1 Leeds Rotherham prediction there. Stranger things have happened. This is what you need to keep in your ears. There's no easy games in the Championship. That's what Sky will be saying at 90 minutes when Rotherham equalise in the last minute. Colin, sing loud and proud. Another sold out away. I mean, they're all going to be sold out away. And said we will be there, won't we? In the up in the heavy atmosphere of the Hawthorns in the Coles.
I've never done it as a Town fan. I've been there as a neutral. Didn't we go and see a random FA Cup game there a few years ago to tick it off when we thought we'd never get back to the Premier League ever again? So we went and saw them to tick off the ground, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, and we've forgotten to mention the main man. I mean, this is another Mark Ashton derby of which we've already won one on the road, haven't we? So I
forgot about that.
Should we continue that record? Ashton on the pitch, Ipswich Town flag in the centre spot. No, he's a West Brom fan, isn't he? I think so. He wouldn't do that, but. Yeah, interesting dynamic there. We shall see if he's going to knee slide in front of the away support on Saturday after a snatch a late 1-0 win. Mullet, quite rightly doing my job for me. If you want to give us a thumbs up as well, we very much appreciate that. Thank you to the folk over on Facebook, James, Justin, Ben, Stephen, and Matt. We appreciate you, but if you're watching on YouTube, it just helps nudge us up everyone's algorithms and the dark arts and all that kind of stuff. But lets you know that we're doing the right things. I know that the host has been crap this week, but Seb is always pretty consistent. Seb's an 8 out of 10 most weeks. Seb's like the Sam Morsey of the podcast with the research. So do give us your appreciation and acknowledge Seb's hard work at the very least. And so thank you, Mullet, for doing my job there. Matty's going for a 2-1 West Brom, then Town bounce back with a win after that.
And that's fine, right? If that happens, if we lose, as long as you beat Millwall and as long as you beat Coventry, you've got 6 points from 3 games. You're absolutely fine. Crack on.
Yep. Easy's gone for a 5-0 Leeds win. Yeah, I bet your odds weren't particularly good on that one either, were they, Easy? And he's going for a 2-0. That's wishful thinking, Easy. Come on. He's going for a Watford to beat Leicester as well. Of course he is. Manifesting stuff here, Easy. Good on you for that. Colin's going for a 2-2 draw. I think there is a point at least in it for Watford. I don't underestimate Watford, and I'd be interested to see, Leicester a little bit of a stumble. And I think in your show last night, Seb, I'd imagine the Leeds fan was more confident than the Leicester fan, or
no. Mark, Leicester fan was
everyone is.
Yeah, pretty confident. He reeled off some of the names and he says, they can just go out in January and spend again, which also they can because they're hugely cash positive after the summer. You and the Leeds fan was the most optimistic after me, probably. Yeah,
that's the way for Leeds fan, isn't it? Always positive, except when things are going bad and then they're not. But most football supporters are like that, aren't they? But yeah, 100th game says Colin confirming that. Alex going for a 2-2. And let's end with this one. Kieran, tight game, so I'll say Ipswich 37-0. Might be a tad optimistic. Good stuff. Thank you, everyone, for your predictions. We'll say goodbye to everyone. If you want to shout out, get them in the chat now. We'll put as many as we can up. But let's listen to some editors. thanks everyone who's made it the whole way through. We appreciate you. Hopefully we've imparted some wisdom. We were chatting we mentioned Graham and Dan. Others have bumped into certainly me and said, I think, who's the guy who does who did this cartoony thing for me? I've forgotten his name. Glory Days Artwork. Mentioned that he used your stat about the late goals and the early goals and all that kind of stuff. So if there's one nugget of information, and we'll let Seb remind you of that before we say goodbye, that's what we're here for. Hopefully we've given you a bit of knowledge that you can look clever in front of your mates in the pub or in the stands on Saturday, or at home watching on the telly as well. But do join us in Telegram if you're unable to make it to the game. Get in the match day chat, enjoy the heavy analysis, the banter. It's great fun in there. So do join us on Telegram. And of course, Flagship Show, we'll talk about it after the fact on Sunday. I think it's Ben, Dave and Seb. So perfect. The holy trinity of podcast members there. Blue Monday, ITFC.co.uk is everything you need. And before you go, if you could pop us a thumbs up, we'd appreciate it. If you're listening on the podcast, we love and appreciate you in podcast land as well. Please give us a 5-star rating and a review if you want as well. We do listen to the reviews and we do act on feedback as well. So thank you for that. Please keep it respectful as well. We are all doing this in our free time. So courteousness, kindness is what we're all about here as well. But thank you, Seb, for your hard work. Do you want to say a few bits? You're going to tee me up because there are plenty of comments. So do a little bit of meandering of a goodbye before we say goodbye, so I can.
Do you want me to remind people of my stat again? Do you? So don't leave early. Don't leave to go for a halftime drink and a pie, or leave early to catch the train leaving the Hawthorn Stadium. They concede goals in the 15 minutes before halftime. 3 they've conceded in that time period, and they've conceded 5 in the 15 minutes before full time. So do not duck out of this one early. I guess the sign off is still me, because last time we would have done it would have been Birmingham, but we didn't lose. We drew obviously that game, so I'll still do the sign off. So I will say thank you to everybody for getting involved. It's great when we log on here in the green room and we see comments and people waiting for us to go live. It gives us a real good feeling and lets us know that we're doing something right. So thank you to all those guys. Thank you to you for hosting and sanity checking my script and correcting all my awful grammar, etc. And I'll just say it's about to get crazy, folks. We're heading this incredible run. We all looked at the fixture list in June, wherever it came out, and saw the December fixtures and thought, my God, that's going to be a tough month. I don't think it's as tough as we thought it was maybe now, given Coventry aren't maybe the force we were expecting, but there's still some bloody big games coming up. Middlesbrough away, Leeds away, Leicester at home, them lot up the road. Let's get started at the Hawthorns. Let's hopefully, despite what I said a minute ago, get off to a good start with a solid point, bring it back to Portman Road, and then we go again with the 2 midweek games. If you see us there, come and say hello, sing loud, sing proud for the Sky cameras. Come on, you Blues.